Hi, I'm Mike Clarke from My Property Power Team, and I'm lucky enough to have caught Simon Zutshi in one of his rare 5 minutes away from work. Great to speak to you. I've got a few questions I'd like you to answer for myself and also for everybody that comes and views My Property Power Team. So, can I ask you, why did you set up the Property Investors Network?
Well, when I started investing in 1995, when I bought my first house, I really didn't know what I was doing. I just bought a house to live in, and I rented out some of the rooms to my friends who were still at university, and I kind of lived for free. I thought that was quite good, and I bought another house in '98, and I kept the first one, and I just kept on going. And I got to the age of about 32, and my accountant said to me, "Do you know you've made more money from property this year than you have as a full-time manager at Cadbury's?" And I thought that was quite interesting. And so eventually I left Cadbury's, and I was relying on my property income. And I had another part-time business doing nightclubs for students as well. And I wanted to progress my property. And I was already doing quite well. And I went on a property course down in London that was really good. And some of the things that I already knew and they were common sense, but some things I didn't know, and it was fantastic. And I came back to Birmingham with all this enthusiasm, and I found my motivation kind of went down. And I realised I was on my own. And at the time, I was going to business networking, kind of breakfast meetings, and that was useful for my business. And I'd met kind of lawyers and mortgage brokers, and that was all really useful. But none of them really knew very much about property. And I thought, wouldn't it be good to have a group of people getting together on a regular basis who actually understand property, want to achieve the same things? So I started inviting people to come round to the flat I was living at the time in Birmingham, and people started asking me, said, "Simon, how come you don't have to work?" And I said, "Well, I do work. I do my property." He said, "No, Simon, you don't go to work." And I said, "Oh, okay." And so I started to explain and I suppose teach what I had done. And I realised I love teaching. And that's kind of been my passion for the last 10 years, really. And so that's how it happened. In 2003, I started teaching people. And thought, wouldn't it be good if we got together on a monthly basis? And that's exactly how the Property Investor Network started. First in Birmingham, and then we did meetings in London, and obviously now it's spread around the country.
So, how many pin events are there now?
Well, this month there are two new meetings. There are now 37 pin meetings around the country. That's every month, apart from August and December. And our new meetings are in Swansea and also Belfast.
Excellent. So, what benefit do you personally get from networking with property investors?
Well, you know what? I've gained a huge amount from networking. First of all, I found people who have got deals, and they bring deals to me because I'm fairly experienced. I don't know it all, far from it. And in fact, one of the reasons I teach people and I go to network meetings and I learn by speaking to other people, finding out what they're doing. And I think, successful people, we always have an open mind. We recognise you can always learn something new. And even if I see a speaker who I've seen before, I know some people switch off and go, "Oh, I've heard this." Well, you'll always pick up something new because you're in a different place from when you last heard the talk, and the speaker's in a different place. So there's always a golden nugget if you look for it. So building my knowledge, learning is the biggest benefit from networking, and actually doing deals. And I'll meet people who've got money you want to put into deals, and it's just about putting the two together, really.
Right, okay. So, you meet lots and lots of property investors. What are the biggest mistakes that many of us property investors make?
Okay, there are quite a few. Some of the key ones is I think a lot of investors they don't educate themselves properly, and what that means is they either they might be doing okay, but they could do so much better, be more efficient, be more effective if they just educated themselves as to some of the latest techniques and strategies. So that's one thing. The other thing is people will sometimes go into deals that aren't great deals, and they've not really done their research properly. You always want to make sure that you can easily read things out. And when you do a deal, you ideally want a couple of different exit strategies because things happen, things change. So if you're banking on just one strategy, that can be a real problem if things don't quite work out the way you expect. And then the final thing is people not taking action. People learn a great strategy, get enthusiastic, and they sit back and rather than actually going to do it, they just sit and think about it. And unfortunately, nothing's going to happen if you just think. It is about taking action. It is about working hard, or rather working smart, and that will help you achieve more in property.
Right. So, Is that why educating property investors is so important to you?
Well, I love to speak. I love to educate people. I get a massive buzz when people come back to me and say, hey, you taught me this and I went out and I did this, and people achieving results. And, as I said before, they've done the work, but we've very much been a catalyst to help them get there. And I get a personal massive buzz out of that. And also I get paid well. We help people get amazing results, and people then pay for that. So, which is fantastic. I get paid to do something I'm passionate about. I highly recommend it.
So, is that what made you write Property Magic?
Well, I was looking to write a book for a long time, and I tried, and I could never quite get around to it, or it just didn't really flow. So I actually hired a book coach to help me, and she said, Simon, why not speak it? And that's what I did. I got some voice recognition software, and I spoke. And a lot of people read the book, they say it's as if I'm talking to them, and that's why, because that's what I did.
I can identify with that.
And so I like to think it's written in the way I speak. And it was a way of getting the message out to lots of people. And it's been, to be honest, it's been a great advert for us as well. People have come to PIN meetings, people have come on our mastermind program, because we don't really spend money advertising. A lot of stuff we do is word of mouth and recommendation. Because it's done so well in Amazon, people who've never heard of me go and buy the book and like it and come and do stuff with us. So yeah, it's worked really well.
So how many copies have you sold to now?
Well, we've got 4 editions, because I think it's, the market's changed so much since I wrote the first one, and I think it's really important to keep the stuff up to date. So we're on edition 4 at the moment, which I wrote last year, which thankfully is still valid. And we've sold a lot on Amazon. We've also done a lot of promotions. Last year we did a big promotion where we gave away 5,000 copies of the new edition. Other property shows and things like that, we've given some away, and with YPN magazine they often give a copy away. So I think we must be 25 to 30,000 copies of all 4 editions are out there. Probably more so of the latest copy. The latest copy's done really, really well.
So does that encourage you to write any more books then?
I hope Property Magic is going to be good for the next couple of years, if I'm honest, because it's harder to go back and edit than it is to write it in the first place. But I do have 2 books I'm working on at the moment. One of them I'll tell you about. One is a book purely about options. Now, I'm not an expert in options by any stretch of the imagination, but we've taught options for many years, and a lot of my clients and students have done very, very well from doing options, and I've done option deals. So again, in the way I like to teach, making things very simple and very practical, and I hope that book will be out September, October this year. And I've got a couple of other projects which are kind of a bit secret at the moment, but when they're available, you'll be the first person to know, Mike. Thanks
very much for that. Okay, so can I ask you now more about the training that you provide for property investors? I'm aware that you do the Property Investment Quick Start and the Mastermind program.
Yes.
How do they differ from each other?
Okay, so the Quick Start is just that. It's a 1-day course, which at the moment a guy called Paul Preston runs for us, who is a really great presenter. He's a very experienced landlord, does a great job running that for me. And that kind of expands the principles within the Property Magic book, puts a bit of life to them, if you like. And it's a 1-day course to teach you what you need to start to invest. So it's very much aimed at people who are new to investing, or maybe got 1 or 2 and they bought them the traditional way and they want to learn the best way to buy property. So it's all about finding motivated sellers, helping solve their problem, coming with an ethical win-win so everyone benefits. And we have people who come on just the 1 day and do really well from that. We then have a 3-day advanced program that I run myself called my Mastermind Accelerator program. And that's very much about an overview of all the strategies within the full Mastermind program that you cram into 3 days. And we initially did that just for people in the Mastermind program. However, they were getting such good results that we now open it up to anyone who can come on that program. And it's residential, so we include accommodation and food. So you really get to know the other people on the program. And lots of people do joint ventures and work with other people they meet on that program. So that's the kind of the advanced program. And it's the first step for people who want to come on to the full 12-month Property Mastermind program. And what people get on that is it's obviously a lot of the knowledge from the 3 days spread out over 10 days with a bit more detail. But it's all about coming together each month, getting that accountability, getting that support, and getting that boost of energy, because investing can be very difficult on your own, and it's really the powerful community that people are getting themselves into, and that's why people achieve so much.
Okay, so what's the typical outcome of teaching property investors new strategies and ways to control property then?
Well, it's interesting, one of the things that I personally gain from teaching people is I learn from my students. And very often we'll teach something to someone and they'll go and they'll tweak it and they'll twist it, and you get hybrids of strategies. So, for example, a lot of people talk these days about the let to multi-let strategy, where you take a house that's on a single let basis and you multi-let it. And we do that, and then also you can an option on a property, so you can take a property on that's been let as a single let and then multi-let and have the option to buy it, and that's just a combination of a purchase lease option and HMO strategy. And people kind of put these strategies together and come up with these hybrids, which is one of the things that happens on Mastermind a lot, because you get people who are really focusing in and really taking property seriously, putting their heads together and coming up with these weird and wonderful hybrid strategies. So it's one of the benefits of teaching people. I get the latest cutting edge strategies because we're there creating them.
Right, and I take it then there's often occasion when these new strategies are discussed on the PIN Academy. So
Yeah,
can you tell us more about that and tell us how people can join?
Yeah, well, PIN Academy, we put PIN Academy together to put in some of the very best things of the PIN network. So as a member of PIN Academy, and you just go, I think you're going to send a link out with this video, Mike.
Yeah.
But basically, go to the website and sign up, and they can sign up for a month to give it a try. And actually, there's a big bonus when you sign up, so it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. And what you get is, first of all, you get access to as many PIN meetings as you want. Now, PIN meeting is £20 normally, but if you're a PIN Academy member, you can go to as many meetings as you want each month. And for a lot of people, like in London, there are like 5 meetings you can go to over a 4-week period. And up in the north, there's a number of meetings clustered together. So for most people, there's probably a couple of PIN meetings within easy driving distance of where you live or work. But PIN Academy is far more than just PIN meetings. There's a whole community on there. There's a discussion forum. You can post deals, you can buy deals on there. There's a load of the one-day courses we do. We've taken lots of video clips from those and put those into them. So if someone wants to learn the basics, they can go on and go through all those videos and access them 24/7 whenever they want. So a really convenient way to learn. You can find joint venture partners on there. There are specific interest groups, so if you're interested in options or HMOs or let to multi-let, there are discussion groups about those on there. We also have an exclusive audio CD that I record with Andy Phillips each month that we give out at the PIN meetings just for PIN Academy members. We have webinars that we do exclusively for PIN members, and we actually we record all the webinars I do, but we just put the recordings in the PIN Academy website. So what that means is if you like the webinars we do, you're never going to miss a webinar again because all the recordings there for you to access. So with such valuable resource, people tend to join and stay in for a long time because they're just getting so much out of it. And I think you've got a link you can send out if people want to join, Mike.
Right, can you tell people then about the PIN National one-day event that's happening on the 20th of April, please?
Yeah, this is something new we've created. Again, because we have a lot of people who go to PIN meetings all over the country, and the PIN Academy allows people to network with people from other PIN meetings. So without physically going to one, you can network people that go to a PIN meeting the other side of the country. And a lot of people say, wouldn't it be great to meet up? So listening to the requirements of our members, we've decided to do 3 PIN National Days a year. And they're going to be totally different days. The first one is the 20th of April in Birmingham at the NEC. And anyone from PIN can come along. It's, I think, £297 plus VAT. For that, they get lunch, they get work, they get an audio recording of the day. And we've got a super speed networking session at the beginning, which means you're going to get to know about 70 to 80% of the people in the room at the very beginning of the day. We've got a fantastic content piece that I'm doing with a guy called Stuart Hale, all about rent to buy and a great strategy to make really good cash from property. We're going to have a live deal analysis section with Trushant Badani, who's one of our experts in PIN Academy, and I'll be doing a bit of a motivational piece as well. And then we're going to have an experts question and answer panel about the market, what changes are coming up. So it's going to be a real diverse day. We've got a day also that's going to be in London. That's going to be the 24th of August. I'm not going to tell you about that just now, but it's going to be a very, very different day. And then we're going to have one probably up north in September or October. So we're moving around the country, but from the people that have registered already, we're getting people from all over the country coming. And generally, it's the more serious investors who really want to who understand the value of networking, want to connect with other people. And I think if you're a PIN Academy member, it's something like £97 plus VAT for the day. So you save a couple of £100 just by being a PIN Academy member. So it's another great benefit of being on PIN Academy, really.
Right, okay.
You're coming as well, aren't you?
Yes, I'll be there.
We'll see you there. Fantastic.
So, finally, Simon, can I ask you, what else does 2013 have in store for you and for the Property Investors Network?
Okay, well, we've got a pretty good coverage around the country, and obviously if people want to go and check out the PIN meetings, I'll give you the website, which is pinmeeting.co.uk. And if you look at that, it's got the meetings around the country listed. There are a few gaps around the country which we intend to plug, and so we'll probably be up to maybe 40, maybe 42 meetings by the end of this year. So that's PIN. I'm also personally, I'm doing a lot more on options, and also I'm doing bigger deals. So I get a lot of people who bring deals to me which are they're a bit bigger than maybe they can handle on their own, and they need a bit of experience from me, and I bring funding in from other investors and we split the profits, and everyone does very well from those. And I do those because I want to keep current, I want to keep up to date with doing deals. Also, it's a great opportunity to do these fantastic deals right now. There's not much competition out there, and I like making money from them. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on this year, 2013.
Right, well, Simon Zutshi from Property Investors Network, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike.